Our last inductee of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Ghilani, class of 1985, football and baseball. Football, lettered his sophomore, junior, and senior years, captained his senior year at quarterback, led Natick to 3 undefeated seasons, 3 Bay State League titles, 2 Super Bowl championships. Football awards: Super Bowl MVP, Team MVP, Bay State League All-Star, Boston Globe All-Scholastic Player of the Year, Boston Herald Player of the Year, Parade All-American Team Honorable Mention. And to this day, Paul Ghilani and his father Bob, from the class of 1955, are the only father-son combination in Natick High School football history to have quarterbacked undefeated varsity teams. In baseball, 4-year varsity letter winner, career pitching record of 36 wins, only 4 losses. As a sophomore, he pitched a 9-inning no-hitter. A member of the 1984 Junior Olympics East baseball team. Member of the Natick Legion World Series baseball team. Baseball awards: Boston Globe Freshman of the Year, Bay State League All-Star, and 4-time Boston Globe All-Scholastic. In his senior year, he was voted Natick High School's best all-around athlete. The 2013 Natick High School Athletic Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 1985, Paul Ghilani.
Paul Ghilani from the class of 1985 was a 2-sport athlete playing football and baseball. In football, he lettered his sophomore, junior, and senior years and served as captain his senior season. At quarterback, he led Natick to 3 undefeated seasons, 3 Bay State League titles, and 2 Super Bowl championships, while throwing over 40 touchdown passes and having a pass completion percentage of 66%. To this day, Paul Ghilani and his father Bob, from the class of 1955, are the only father-son combination in Natick High School football history to have quarterbacked undefeated varsity teams. As a sophomore, Paul Ghilani was voted Super Bowl MVP. As a senior, he was voted Team MVP, Bay State League All-Star, Boston Globe All-Scholastic Player of the Year, Boston Herald Player of the Year, and received a Parade All-American Team Honorable Mention. In baseball, Paul Ghilani was a 4-year varsity letter winner and had a career pitching record of 36 wins and only 4 losses. As a freshman, he was named the Boston Globe Freshman of the Year, and as a sophomore, he pitched a 9-inning no-hitter. Paul Ghilani was a member of the 1984 Junior Olympic East baseball team, the Natick Legion World Series baseball team, voted a Bay State League All-Star, and a 4-time Boston Globe All-Scholastic. In his senior year, Paul Ghilani was voted Natick High School's best all-around athlete. 2013 Natick High School Athletic Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 1985, Paul Ghilani.
Mike, you hit it on the head. Nice job, Joe, your brother. Love your style. That's good stuff. Vanjie, looking forward to the song. First, just out of the gate, to the committee, Bobby Annabali, Coach Bushenfeld, Coach May, and Tara, and obviously Mike for just putting the event on. It's just a phenomenal effort to put something like this on. I think we have well over 300 people here tonight, and that's pretty impressive. So the effort around that is just amazing. So nice job, and as well as the executive committee, the voting committee as well. Thank you so much. I'm just truly honored to be up here in front of this town for this award, and to be on the same wall with my dad is just great. In terms of, Mike went through the names, in terms of the amount of athletes that I was associated with and played with and learned from before and after me, being on the fields with my dad, seeing some of the folks that are here today receiving awards. I'm up here today receiving this award, but like Mike said, I'm one of just many people that made some just phenomenal teams last year. The 3 football teams I was on were all inducted. There's probably a couple baseball teams that you'll see up here in the future. Just amazing, amazing teams. Joe Crisafoli, Mike Fair, Tim Hopkins, the 3 captains, we were able to play on all 3 of those undefeated seasons, and that was just something just completely amazing. And I know there's several of the folks that I played with here today, and you know, just a close-knit group, and people like Joe Crisafulli keeping us together every year. It's nice to be part of such a great thing. And you know, from that class, we've had several people that are still in this town driving youth football, driving baseball within this town, and that's huge. The programs that we have underneath Bobby and the Bally that Eric Ranstrom are running for our youth, for wrestling, top notch. My buddy Pat Haswell running stuff in the hockey program, what Coach Hennekamp and Coach Buschenfeld are doing with basketball, lacrosse that's become a powerhouse now in Natick, girls basketball winning season after season. Now that stuff, that's not normal stuff. It's not. Go ask Framingham. They're not doing this. So, sorry, Mom. So in terms of coaches, again, what Mike said, Coach Lamb, you know, he's here with us at Natick. He coached for years with us at Natick. He could coach at any level he wanted to coach at. I've been around Doug Flutie. I've been on fields with professional coaches. I've been at Division I football camps, Division I games. I've been in locker rooms with the professionals and the college folks. He's right there. He's right there, and he's with us. And, you know, he gave me an opportunity when I was a sophomore to he gave me quite an opportunity as a sophomore to play quarterback. We didn't really need a good quarterback when I was a sophomore with Jimmy DiPaolo and Dave Morrill and some of the other folks. And you know, one thing I got from Coach Lamb, and I use it a lot. I use it at work. I manage people. I have clients and stuff. But one thing about Coach Lamb, whenever it got tough, whenever you had a big game, a Walpole, a Braintree, you know, he kind of relaxed. He was having fun. I mean, they would kick our ass against some of the worst teams. Like on Thanksgiving, you'd come after us all week before the Framingham game, and we couldn't understand if we did something wrong, but it was, you know, it was the way you handled yourself against like a Walpole. I always remember being down by a touchdown or two in Walpole. I pitched the ball left, Darren went right. I pitched the ball right, Darren went left. I'm in the locker room in the basement over at Walpole High School. I'm crying. I'm like, hey, you know what I did? I'm losing. I left the ball. And you come walking up to me like we're going to the carnival. Oh, hey, Lefty, it's okay. We're all right, all right. And then my dad comes up behind him after he walks away. And my dad looks like this. He goes, pull your head out of your ass and get back on the field. And Dave Morrill's got me by the neck, and he's ready to kill me. You walk out of this locker room crying, and you're not coming out of this locker room. So just, you know, I take those lessons with me. I teach that stuff to the youth football in Natick with my brothers Pete and Steve. And, you know, it's good stuff, and you remember those things. John Carroll on the baseball side of the house, you know, his style of coaching today, I don't know if they'd even allow it. You know, but I'm telling you right now, I learned all my disciplines from it, my fundamentals from it. Just a huge, huge, fierce advocate in Natick athletics. He'd come up to you. He'd come up to anybody in any athletic sport, girls or boys. Where do you want to go to college? I'll make a phone call for you. He'd call Wake Forest, Villanova, Notre Dame. He didn't care. I've seen him kick people out of the office. Division I schools, Penn State, Notre Dame, because they weren't looking at all the other kids on the team. But you know, when I was, I think, 14, he gave me an opportunity to pitch in the opening day as a freshman. And I remember sitting in the back seat of his car, because he and my dad would drive home from practice, and my dad got in the car before me, and I said, Dad, Coach is going to start me tomorrow in the first game of the season. I go, is he all right? And I always remember my dad. My dad said, you do whatever you got to do to get through it. He goes, but don't ever think for 1 minute that anybody across from you or anybody that you're playing against is better than you for 1 minute. And I always remember that, and you guys taught that stuff. So, you know, it was pretty, we're really fortunate to have the coaching staffs that we have had then and now. And, you know, to segment into my family, I always remember being on the mound. I think it was my senior year. We were playing Framingham. We were killing them. It was like the 9th inning. I had a 1 or 2 hitter. I got behind on a batter. I was 0-2, I think. And, you know, I'm getting ready to pitch. I'm getting a little aggravated. And all of a sudden, I hear from the crowd, get the ball over, throw some strikes, from a woman. And I know the voice. It goes through me like, and I step off, and I see Coach Carroll call a timeout, and he comes out to the mound. I remember like it was yesterday. And he says to me, how you doing out here? I go, will you please tell my mother to stop yelling at me? I go, I have a 2-hitter going. We're winning the game. She's yelling at me. Now. There's 1 out left. I go, can you please tell her to be quiet? He goes, no. I'm not telling her that. You can tell her that later. So I proceeded. He walks off. I'm still out of my mind that she's pissed at me. And I throw 3 strikes, and we get out of there. We shake hands. We go home. And my dad's looking at me. He's like, you're on your own here. We go in the house. My dad goes into the kitchen. I go upstairs. I hear my mother going, Paul, where are you? I don't come down. I finally come down a little while later. She goes, oh, come here, honey. She puts her hands on my face. Good game today. And she walks away and goes, Ma, what the hell? What are you yelling at me for? I need you yelling at me in the 9th inning. We are killing Framingham, and you're yelling at me? She's like, well, you had an 0-2 count against the 9th hitter on the team. You struck him out 2 or 3 times before that. Throw strikes. If you want to play in the varsity, it's what you got to do. And she's, making a salad, this and that. And I look at my father, he puts the paper up, you're on your own here. And, that's the way the house was. My mom and dad, I can't ask anymore of what they gave me growing up, being on the fields. In terms of my 2 brothers, I couldn't ask for any better brothers in the world. The most unselfish people, enjoying the success with me on the field down at Foxborough, winning tournaments in baseball, Legion, always part of it, never jealous, just absolutely phenomenal, and then went on to have their own tremendous careers too, and that was a good time. Like my mother, who for us is the heart and soul of our family, and keeps everybody in line, and has the right attitude towards everything we do. And in my family, my wife Karen, it's the same thing with our family, just the heart and soul of everything that we do with Paige, Henry, and my oldest daughter, Nicole. I can't say enough about them and how much I love them. And if you check the MCAS scores at Johnson School, they're probably one of the highest in Natick, so. My older daughter, Nicole, every day trying to keep us eating right and stay healthy. Love her for that. Henry, I don't know anybody in the world that wakes up every day as happy as my son Henry. Every day. I get a call from his friend's father saying, Henry wants to stay over tonight. I go, he's been at your house for 2 days. I go, if you want to keep him, you can keep him. I go, let me come get him. He's like, listen, everything's better with a little Henry. All right, that's pretty good. And then my daughter, Paige, she finds me every night to tell me she loves me and gives me a kiss. Every day. She teaches us how to love people the right way. So there's not many people that can say somebody every day comes and give them a kiss. Paige does, and that's just fantastic. So, we're going through a tough time with my dad right now. A lot of people have asked us how he's doing, and I thank you all for that. And at some level, it's a little, it feels a little empty for me because he was everything for me and has done, more than I can even imagine. And I'll leave with a quote from him because he's, I know you all have had some of his quotes in the past and absolutely adore them. So a few months ago, my mom and I were walking with him in the hallway up over at Leonard Morse and Metro West. And it was the day that Kurt had called me and said I was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. And my dad had kind of slowed down. He's not saying too much, but he was with my mom all day, so I showed up and told my mom, and she was thrilled. And I'm walking, holding my dad's hand, walking down the hall. I said, Dad, I got a call from Kurt today, Kurt Buschenfeld. I go, he called me. He said, I'm getting into the Hall of Fame this year. And he stopped. Now, he hasn't said a word all day. He goes, that's fantastic. So, then we walked around a little bit more, went into the room. I sat down across from him in a chair, holding both his hands. I said, Dad, we did pretty good, huh? He looked at me, again, he hasn't said anything. He goes, we won a lot of games. My mother goes, what did you say? I go, he said we won a lot of games, Ma. He goes, he doesn't say anything all day to me. He turns to my mother and he goes, we don't have to say a word. The numbers speak for themselves. And he looks back at me and I went, you're fine. I go, Ma, I don't know what you're talking about. He seems pretty good today. And, you know, I always remember, you know, my dad and being on the field. And, you know, at the end of the day, when I go to sleep at night, I'm up here because of him. So, thank you. That's all I got. Thank you.